One of the first classic movies of the 2000s was written by two teenagers, Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg.
We'd never seen a movie that really was about what we were experiencing in high school, which, was basically trying to get alcohol and trying to have sex.
So, like, a lot of the shit that happened in Superbad happened to us in high school.
I've been working on this movie for like 12 years now. I've spent half my life writing this movie.
And at one point, a producer joined us because we thought maybe we're not powerful enough, so we got this powerful producer to jump on the project to help us. And then suddenly he got hired to be the head of a studio. And we thought, well, now we're gonna get to make it. And the first decision he made as the head of the studio was to not make the movie that he was the producer of.
When Evan and Seth were young, they used to go to a video store and rent a bunch of movies to watch them together. But the way they would pick those movies was different. Instead of looking at the synopses, they only looked at the cover of the VHS. They had no idea what were the stories that they were about to watch. For this reason, they would get mixed results. Sometimes good movies, sometimes bad movies. But one day, they watched a movie that was horrible. At the end of it, just one phrase came to their minds. We can do better than this.
We sat down not knowing what we were going to write, and the question was, well, what do we know?
Yeah.
That was all of it.
Yeah, that was
That's
pretty
all we
much
knew.
it. We knew we wanted to get laid, and we knew we liked getting drunk.
Growing up, they were exposed to the decades with the most iconic movies of all time, the 80s and 90s. And although the genre of those classics may vary, one type of movie that has always been successful throughout those 20 years was the teen movie. And all those movies had one thing in common. None of them were relatable.
Oh, yeah.
Huh? It's not like those characters would exist in real life, you know what I mean?
We'd never seen a movie that really was about what we were experiencing in high school, which, was basically trying to get alcohol and trying to have sex. We'd seen movies that kind of touched on those subjects, but, never in the way that we found realistic.
So, how do you make a teenager movie relatable? Well, it's simple. You just have to write real stories.
14, writing a movie based on experience you didn't fully have yet.
No, it was as it was happening. So, like, a lot of the shit that happened in Superbad happened to us in high school. Like, someone would get a fake ID, and so that's what gave us that thing. And, like, the period blood shit actually happened. We were the guys who saw it on the guy. Shit like that would happen, and we'd, like, write it. We'd be like, oh, we should put that in the movie. We should put that in the movie.
As they were writing the movie, they got to know a guy that would be really important to make this whole thing happen. When Seth was 13 years old, he started doing stand-up comedy.
Our next guy up to bat is the youngest guy in the comedy gym now. Put your hands together for Seth Rogen.
I'm a two-time Playgirl centerfold. No, I'm not really, but I am Jewish.
He was performing on the side of people who was twice his age. What he couldn't imagine at that moment was that making comedy in such a young age would not only give him the ability to write, but also to improvise. And that later, those abilities would help him build his entire career in Hollywood.
Have you thought about what you're going to do when you graduate?
I have some thoughts, but I'm weighing my options.
Freaks and Geeks came out in 1999.
Who the hell is Jesus H. Garcia?
It's Jesus. It's your new identity.
It's a show that impressed the critics because it's really good. But the audience at the time didn't like it, which made the show be cancelled with only one season. But that was enough for one of the producers see the potential that Seth had with comedy. Judd Apatow started to put Seth to act on every project that he was working on at the moment. But while Seth's career as an actor was growing, he and Evan would still find time to present the script for anyone that wanted to hear.
Mr. McLovin? What fucking stupid name is that? What are you trying to be, an Irish R&B singer? You know, they let you pick any name you want when you get there. So you picked McLovin? You know, it was between that and Muhammad. Why was it between that and Muhammad? Why didn't you just pick a common name?
And they had to do that a lot of times.
We've been working on this movie for like 12 years now. I spent half my life writing this movie. After around 6 years, you begin to think, maybe no one's going to make this movie.
And at one point, a producer joined us because we thought maybe we're not powerful enough. So we got this powerful producer to jump on the project to help us. And then suddenly he got hired to be the head of a studio. And we thought, well, now we're going to get to make it. And the first decision he made as the head of the studio was to not make the movie that he was the producer of.
But while Evan and Seth were getting rejected by producers, another thing was happening in the background.
Of course I thought of that. Listen to this.
How is the mood striking you now?
My movie, The 40-Year-Old Virgin, just surpassed $100 million.
Apatow produced Talladega Nights, Anchorman,
Studies, 60% of the time, it works every time.
That doesn't make sense.
and after that, he also wrote and directed The 40-Year-Old Virgin. When one guy, in a period of 1 year, produces 3 movies that together made more than $400 million, it gets difficult for the studio to say no for his ideas.
And then after 40-Year-Old Virgin came out and did well, then they started to
give you chances.
Columbia Pictures bought the rights for Superbad, and the production began. Almost all the characters in the movie were based on Seth and Evan's lives, even the principal ones.
I mean, the characters' names are Seth and Evan, after me and Evan, and originally I was going to play Seth. But it basically took us so long to get the movie made that I, aged out of the role, essentially. And, I could not play 18-year-old convincingly anymore.
And Jonah, actually, we refused to kind of acknowledge.
He kept on trying to convince us to put him in Superbad, and we were just like, no, you're too old. And we thought he was too old. And then I remember literally one day we had him come to into my trailer during Knocked Up and filmed him on a camcorder.
The floodgates are opening. We're gonna need to build a dam to stop the pussy juice from overflowing onto us.
You're right.
That's graphic.
And it was just so funny. We were like, oh, we were wrong. He can totally do this very well.
And I mean, you clearly don't want me to go to another school, so what the fuck, man? What do you, I'm not gonna let you slow me down anymore.
Michael Cera walked in and was just like, done.
Yeah. And it's funny because Michael Cera's really not like the actual Evan in real life, but he was perfect.
For me, Evan is the most funny thing of the movie.
Who's that guy?
Hi.
Who is that guy? Who's this guy?
Hey, fellas.
In the script, it was kind of like a straight man and a funny guy, but he made the straight man just as funny as the funny guy.
And I will never be right, no, no, no. You gave a promise to me, yeah, and you broke it. You broke it, honey. These eyes.
We really stepped in shit with Michael Cera. He's fucking hilarious.
But in the casting process, there was one character who was the hardest to find.
Almost every character is based on a real person, so there is a real Fogel, and when he was around 13 or 14, he acted exactly like the character in the movie, and we really had a hard time casting it. We thought it was unactable.
Anxiety attacks and nervous breakdowns when it came to Fogel. We just could not find a Fogel.
That's how hard it was. We started thinking we wrote a character that no one in the world can perform properly. And we were literally just going to change it. We were like, we have to completely rewrite it. And then this young man came in and stole our hearts.
And each and every one of these kids just so happen to be 21. How many 21-year-olds do you think there are?
Oh, shit. Fogel, you should have talked to us about this, obviously, man.
It's my choice, man. I went to get the ID. You didn't do it.
I guess we should.
And he walked in,
Gangsters, what's up, guys?
walked out, and we're just hugging each other.
Yeah, we were so, he had no idea how happy we were.
I'm ready to kick ass.
But one person wasn't happy with this decision.
When he left the room, Jonah was like, no, not him.
That's okay, I don't like you.
The fact that Jonah didn't like him in real life was what made their characters' relationship so good in the movie.
What the hell is that?
It's the fucking vest. I'm trying to look older.
You look like Pinocchio.
I think he felt that Chris was like kind of getting the better of him comedically. Stopping Jonah, like, blocking Jonah's like funny jab. I mean, it made Jonah like double down, and Jonah getting irritated made him funnier. And Chris just deflected, like he is a guy who does not care.
With a great story and a perfect cast, the production of Superbad was finished.
You know, for me, I'm just proud of the fact that they gave it to me in the year 2000 and that I never gave up on it, because I always knew it was funny, and Seth always believed that if you made this kind of movie that was really edgy and real to his experience, that people would go crazy for it.
This is my first big premiere. Yeah, I'm a little nervous. I'm calming down a little bit.
It's exciting. It's like the most exciting night of my life.
It's honest and touching, and I think the best movie ever made. Maybe. Yes, it is.
Go see it if you like doing. If that's a hobby of yours. If you like going to see movies at theaters. If you have 2 hours before a dinner, after dinner.
Kanye West said that? Mm-hmm. Oh my God, I didn't know that. That's cool.
For 20 minutes, I worked out as Kanye literally just stood right next to me reciting scenes from Superbad, word for word.
Jonah told me that he met Eminem, and Eminem recited the first 10 minutes of Superbad to him, like had it memorized, and did our voices and stuff.
There's probably no teenager in the world today that doesn't know who's McLovin.
Okay, so what's it gonna be?
I am McLovin.
But after 15 years, why does Superbad still hold its status as a great movie? Besides being really funny.
That's good.
You're such a smooth.
Thank you. You would too if you were a man.
Well, different than other teen movies, this story is relatable. Most of the friends that you had in high school probably won't last for life. Maybe because of responsibilities, maybe because of different decisions. In this case, they were accepted in different colleges. So it's not only a story about teenagers getting drunk and trying to lose their virginity, but about the panic of starting a new phase of your life without someone that you grew up with, without someone that you love.
I think we tried to put like emotions and stories and kind of just general frustrations or feelings that you had in high school.
I love you, man.
I love you. I love you. I'm not even embarrassed to say it. I love you.
I'm not embarrassed.
Love you.
I love you. It's like, why don't we say that every day? Why can't we say it more often?
I just love you. I just want to go to the rooftops and scream, I love my best friend Evan.
We should go up on my roof.
It's a great ensemble. It's not about just one person being the focus of the funny in it, you know. It's about everybody getting a fair share, and like it's like being like on an all-star team.
Trust the police, no justice, no peace. They got me face down in the middle.
We wanted it to be, you know, not just a funny movie, but hopefully a good movie, you know, and often those are mutually exclusive. So we tried to meld the two. I mean, there were just elements from our own lives that we thought were funny that we hadn't seen in high school movies that we wanted to put in, you know, like.
All these answers sound so fake because you hear like actors saying this stuff, but really, like, I made a movie with most of my best friends that were in it or around making it, and it couldn't have been more fun. I mean, we were making each other laugh. We all felt like we were on the right track at least. And you know, the whole reason the movie was made is because we all really hate like teen comedies. They're not honest, you know. You don't feel like you relate to the characters and the people in the movie. And I feel like the goal, at least, was to try and make Superbad a movie that would be something that people would not call BS on, and kind of be like, if I'm not that person, I at least know that person or knew that person growing up.
Superbad was a great experience, and what it mainly did, besides just being very fun and a movie I'm proud of, it was an incredible like opportunity to get a seed planted in me by Greg and Seth and Evan, basically of like, you can make a film that's exactly your voice and your ethic and your sensibility. for me, it was really important to see that at a young age because these people were making something that really was exactly in their style, and it was so epic to just watch.
Could this happen again? Could there be a $20 million comedy that has essentially no famous people in it, that is not based on any pre-existing IP or idea? Could that come out in theaters today, make, $200 million, become an actual part of culture to the degree that 15 years later, I see kids wearing McLovin shirts every day as I walk down the street, it is truly entrenched itself in popular culture.
And that's the question. Could these ever happen again?